Welcome back, artists. Today we are going to practice creating a value scale with one of the colors that we are choosing for our concentric circle design. Job number one is to pick your color. I've decided to work on with a green, and then you're going to write your name and your class code on top of the paper. And then you're going to fill in these boxes using your colored pencil. So we're gonna start at the top. This one is called the highlight, and we leave that white. So box number one, you do nothing, it's done. The next one is light. This one should have the lightest value that you can get with your colored pencil. One of the tricks is to hold your pencil back further and just let the weight of the pencil be the value that it creates. And it might be hard to tell, but there is a really subtle green going on right here. My job in each of these areas is to make sure that there's a consistent color with the same value. Now that I am done with that one, I hardly push down it at all. I could choke up a little bit or bring my fingers up a little bit more for my low light, and I can go with the same amount of pressure that I did before. But now I need to go back over it one more time to kind of layer that color and make it a little bit darker. And while I'm working on this, I'm also trying to have a consistent color throughout. See how there's white, a very light green, and a little bit of a darker green. I'm going to continue to work my way down, and I'm going to press a little bit firmer with the pencil to make the darker color. But I'm going to be consistent with how much I press down. So right now, these two are about the same value. So I want to go just a little bit more, so I'm using soft pressure, but I'm going over it one more time to make it slightly darker. And then I just continue doing this. To get to the bottom, you should be pressing as hard as you can with your colored pencil to get as dark as possible. And I'm holding closer to, or like how we typically hold a pencil, so I can use the muscles in my fingers to press nice and firm and get a nice dark value with my colored pencil. So this is where I'm headed, and now I need to work on getting there. I could go back and maybe I start with like this type of pressure, mid kind of pressure. But this time, maybe I go, because this looks pretty much the same, but now I go and fill in all of these boxes with that pressure. And I have to turn my pencil because the lead is starting to run out. So now these all are the same, but I need this one to be a little bit darker. So I'm gonna go back and add just a little bit more value. You can see how that's getting slightly darker now. And I could use this pressure all the way down to fill this in. And then I just keep repeating the process. So now these two look the same. I'm gonna go back here, press a little bit harder, or do a second layer with the same pressure to fill that in more. And I will just keep building up until I get all of these boxes filled, and you can see a slight change with each box. So now I'm on my last one. And I'm gonna go back over this one more time. I wanna make sure that it's not quite this dark, but it needs to be darker than this one. All right, and here is a completed value scale. Now, it's really important when you are adding value to yours that you leave some white. We gotta have the highlights, and we have to have the darkest shadows, and then you should have something in between. One of the most common mistakes that new artists with value make is they stay in the gray areas. Everything's sort of in this area and they don't include these. And then it makes it seem really flat. So we're not coloring, we're using value and pressure to make things look three-dimensional.